got just 10 minutes left.
Barrister James hopes his classic dishes will be enough to take him through to the quarter-final.
James, you have some beautiful ingredients on your bench.
What are you going to cook for us?
I'm doing a pan-fried fillet of brill. For dessert, I'm doing rhubarb crumble.
You are a man who obviously loves food. You handle a knife like a near professional. I don't get how a young man like you can go to college, become a barrister, do something you really love, and then go, you know what, actually...
It was always a plan. I spoke to my father at length and said, look, I really want to be a chef. And he said, yeah, but you've got all this academic talent. You can't just go and be a chef. If you then find out you want to be a barrister, there's no way of going back. Whereas if you do it this way around, if you still want to be a chef at the end of it, fair play.
I think that was sound advice from your father. Yeah, very sound advice.
James is doing a very, very complex dish. I just hope he's not going to do what he did yesterday and he's had too much on a plate and it be too ugly.
All the stuff that's really making me grin is in that fish. I can't wait.
Just 30 seconds left.
Finished. That's it.
Experimental cook Reese is banking on pigeon with Madeira sauce on a broad bean beurre noisette puree. Pudding is poached rhubarb with almond ice cream and coffee syrup.
The meat is a bit dry, a little bit tough. But you've got all those flavours coming through. There's not ridiculous things like chocolate in there.
Meaty, gamey, going slightly sweet, going zing with the sorrel. Really, really good. And really, really clever. I'm pretty much blown away.
From main course to another very, very powerful, powerful dish. But it's not as rounded as your main course. But, Reese, processes like this, making stuff like this, thinking like this, hey, I want to grab hold of you, put my arms around you and kiss you fair and square on the lips.
I love it. I think you will always divide opinion cooking like this.
You want to go further?
Yeah, so much.
And you're going to change your life. You're not going to be an art student, you're not going to go and do art.
No, I'm going to cook.
You're doing art.
Well, yeah.
You've just taken it off the wall and stuck it on a plate.
James is hoping his fillet of brill with langoustine and clam sauce, followed by rhubarb crumble, will take him through to the quarter-final.
About as close to a perfect fish dish that I've ever eaten, James.
It's beautifully flavoured, it's all well seasoned, it's all well cooked. I admire what you're doing, I think it's fantastic. If you're going to go any further in this competition, it's got to become a little bit more subtle and a little bit more refined.
From main to pudding, it doesn't share the same sort of wow factor that your main did. Texture's good. You've got the balance of sweetness and sourness absolutely right. You get that in equal measure. In fact, it probably errs more on the sweetness, which is fine because you've got the sharpness of the ginger.
I love it.
The contestants have 40 minutes to invent a dish from any of today's ingredients, which are sea bass, eggs, potato, tinned tomatoes, dried chilies, onions, basil, courgettes, pak choy, pine nuts, and red peppers.
Guys, you have just 10 minutes left.
Aspiring caterer Yola is hoping success on MasterChef will allow her to set up her own company.
Yola, what are you here for?
I want a change of life, basically. I hate what I do. I love cooking, and I just want to change.
That's strong emotions. What is it you do that you hate?
Sales account manager. Grim. If I won MasterChef, I'd be so proud. Sense of achievement, I'd probably be on cloud 9 for the next couple of months afterwards.
2 minutes.
That's it, guys. Put your stuff down. Thank you.
First up is fusion cook Anisha. She's made lemon and chili sea bass with red pepper sauce and cumin potatoes. But has she successfully pulled off her bold flavours?
It is so unusual that a palate like mine is struggling to get to grips with it. I have citrus, then I have chili, then I have unseasoned, quite waterlogged mashed potato, and after that I'm crunching down on a pine nut. Okay. If we'd have had a sparkler, would that have gone on there as well?
There's little parts of your dish here which show that you think about food. It's whether you're able to get that together as a coherent plate.
Perfectionist mum of 3 Rachel is hoping her sea bass with a pine nut and basil crust, crushed potatoes and ratatouille is a hit.
The fish is definitely the star of the show. That sea bass is lovely and strong, very, very rich fish, and it's cooked beautifully, which is brilliant. I think you've got a good dish.
Sales account manager Yola's hoping to impress the judges with a Spanish omelette with tomato sauce and pan-fried sea bass.
It's not the prettiest plate I've seen in an early round, but it tastes as good as any. I like your omelette. I like the little bit of heat I'm getting from the tomato sauce afterwards. I like the way you've cooked the fish.
For me, the star is your tortilla. Potatoes are lovely and soft. They're all bound together with the lovely sweetness of those onions, which goes great with the fish.
Thank you.
Is this fluke, Yola?
Put me to the test. I'll show you.
Adam's ambitious dreams rest with sea bass on mashed potato with pak choy, fresh pesto and homemade tomato ketchup.
It's interesting for such a complex piece of work that there is not a huge amount of flavour. It's difficult because you produce something which looks fantastic, but now it's got to deliver in my mouth because my expectation is that is going to be awesome. And of course, actually, unremarkable.
I think a man who puts this much work in can probably cook.
Unfortunately, 3 of you are going to go home.
Rachel, you're cooking again for us, Rachel.
Thank you.
Anisha and Nick, you're leaving us, I'm afraid. Sorry. Yola. We thought you could probably cook a bit, Yola, and we'll give you another chance.
Excellent, thank you.
Oh, boys. Adam or Wayne? You're staying, Wayne. Awfully sorry, Adam.
Thanks.
It was a tough day today. It was very tough, and there were other good people, but I'm thrilled to be going through to tomorrow.
I feel ecstatic. I can't actually believe that I've gone through.
I've definitely come very close to going home today. Yeah, and I need to do everything I can tomorrow to get back up there, really, and show what I'm made of.
They now have to cook a 2-course meal that they've designed themselves. Mark's risking it all on an ambitiously complex chicken main course.
Let me get this right now. So we've got chicken breasts with butternut squash and celeriac, with a sauce containing shiitake, champagne and tarragon.
Correct. Is this a style erring on the edge of dangerous?
I think it is. I think I've got a pretty unorthodox style, and I'm there to experiment with stuff, and I don't necessarily need to follow the norm.
The predominant flavour is a dipping sauce, which actually is really pleasant with the fish. I understand why you've done it, because it's a good way of seasoning things.
I don't think it's a dish you would write letters home about, but it's a competent dish, it's a good-looking dish, and it's a tasty dish.
It's just not very pretty. I would love a bit of sugar in it. And for me to say that, that's quite extraordinary. I don't usually eat very much sugar at all.
Now, I haven't tasted it yet. John went, that's sharp, it needs sugar. It's obvious why. To leave a cooking apple like a Bramley this whole, it's going to be really sharp. Three-fifths of that mouthful was close to luxuriously wonderful. And then I finished off with a really sharp apple, which made me go...
Joe's made herb-crusted lamb cutlets with potatoes and sugar snap peas, followed by rhubarb crumble with a vanilla egg custard.
The lamb and its herb crust is lacking flavour. You've got to pack some herbs in there, you've got to pack some flavour into that. Must try harder, I think, would look on your school report.
The potato gratin's delicious. It could probably do a little bit more cooking. It's beautiful lamb. It just needs to be seasoned a bit more, and it needs to get a bit more heat on that fat and really bring out its true character. It is almost very, very good.
Okay.
Look at that.
The difficulty with just doing straight rhubarb is that you end up with lots and lots of liquid, and that can make your crumble non-crumbly. You can see it, can't you, becoming a bit of a lump. Regardless of whether you had done a great crumble or a terrible crumble, I've got to applaud you for making fantastic custard.
Cool. It's a shame it hasn't got the body of the crunch, but flavour-wise and inside there, yeah, that's... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think any Englishman saying no to a rhubarb crumble like that should have his citizenship revoked.
Mark's created phyllo-wrapped goat's cheese with plum sauce, and a main of chicken with celeriac, butternut squash, leek and courgette linguine, and a shiitake mushroom champagne and tarragon sauce.
That's a lot of goat's cheese, Mark.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, that's... gee whiz. That sauce is mighty powerful. But thankfully that goat's cheese is strong enough to hold up against it. Doesn't wow me.
Good flavours. Silly, pretty, nearly nowhere near salad on it. With some good, you know, even a rocket salad with some tomatoes. We're there.
Tarragon chicken, champagne sauce, fantastic idea. The biggest disappointment for me is that there's no seasoning in your sauce. It's a bit wet and flappy. I've got to admire your work ethic because you've worked your socks off. And you just made it.
There is too much going on that plate. I've got a hint of celeriac. Sweetness, cleanness, then in come the tarragon. Bosh, punching its way through everything else. Get out of my way. Great big whack of tarragon. Learn when to leave alone, and I am willing to bet you are going to be a great cook.
They have just 1 hour to cook a 2-course meal of their own design. Only one will win a place in the quarter-final. After a successful round in the Pro Kitchen, Andy has decided to prove his culinary skill with a Thai menu.
You're cooking Thai, Andy?
I am.
One of John's favourite cuisines. That doesn't scare you?
Maybe slightly, but hopefully he'll enjoy it and it'll go down well.
Are you doing this style because this is the style you really, really love?
It's one of the cuisines I'm passionate about, so I think that's a great place to start.
Thai cuisine, quite excited about it, but unless it's done properly, it's bland. That's going to be his big problem today, I think.
Guys, listen up. You have 10 minutes.
Dowie is hoping his dishes will demonstrate his ability to combine flavours, but nerves are getting the better of him.
Dowie, I've got to say right now, you're looking a bit pained.
Yeah. This is a bit doughy. It's a bit sticky at the moment, I think.
What are you making for us, Frath?
Ravioli of mussels, sun-dried tomatoes and anchovies.
Very strong flavours.
Yeah.
Do you think right now is probably not the best time for us to be talking to you?
Yeah.
Dowie's menu, really, I think that's fantastic. But we've seen contestants talk up their menus before. It's in the execution.
3 minutes, guys. Time is up.
Dowie's dreams of a quarter-final place are resting on a mussel and anchovy ravioli, followed by rack of lamb in a wild garlic sauce.
Your pasta's really thick and it's quite hard to chew, but the flavours are really good.
Dowie! What did you do with this pasta? Because that's a restaurant dish, you get that right. I think you've cooked your lamb beautifully. There are glimpses of a very, very good cook fighting to get out there, Dowie.
I think it's okay. I think it looks a lot better than what it delivers, and it looks great.
Can Mary show cooking and presentation skill with rabbit in cider and tarragon sauce, followed by a rhubarb and ginger fool with polenta shortbread?
I think the basis of this dish is actually very good. I think it'd be worthy of a restaurant table, and I think you just got to get a lot more flavour in there.
This is like real cooking from the heart, and I kind of don't want to. I kind of don't want to change you, but with a cookery competition, you've.
I have got to learn to refine it. I mean, I have, and actually, to be fair, I've worked on that.
This presentation is after you've worked at it. Where'd you do it at home? In a bucket?
No.
I am slightly frightened of it. It looks like something out of Shrek. Like Greg, I do not want you to change your style of cooking. But if you want to go any further in this competition, Mary...
Definitely my presentation has to improve. I am aware of that.
You've got to.
Mary, you cook. It just would not take very much.
Having scraped through the first round, Andy is now trying to impress with Thai pork cakes and a dipping sauce, followed by grilled sea bass in a coconut broth.
It doesn't pick me up and give me a great big kiss, but I can't knock it. I can't criticise it. It's without error.
It's such a lovely, clean flavour that's going with it. It's not fatty, it's not greasy. They'll come out really nicely, and I think you've done it really well. Let's move on from your starter.
Well, that kisses me. No, I think that's rather lovely.
The broth, it needs something else to bring it up to make it alive, because that fish is delicious. I'm really excited that you've done what you've done today so well, considering where you were yesterday.